Welcome back to the Bad Pipes podcast. I'm the dad host, the mad host, the bad host, the
I wouldn't say bad.
With the chud in his blood, Elmer Fudd, Crud.
You gonna keep going?
That's all I got.
Nice.
That's all I got, dude.
That's
the
Andrew.
Tree, the main host.
I'm Scott.
Scott.
This is the Bad Pipes podcast.
Scott, don't sell yourself short. You know that you're the host consort. It's a high title in this economy.
The number 2, if you will. I am the Obi-Wan to his Qui-Gon Jinn.
First mate on this sinking ship.
What are we doing this week? What do we got?
We watched Alien. And then we watched Aliens. And then we watched Alien Romulus.
Yes.
And
I just got home. I just got home from Romulus.
Wild.
That's why I was a little late.
Yeah. Yesterday I hopped on Rotten Tomatoes and I wrote out reviews for every movie in the Alien franchise.
Nice.
Except for like the Alien versus Predator movies. Actually, no, I forgot. I still need to write one for Alien Covenant.
Ah, nice. I didn't get a chance. Like I've only seen Alien, Aliens, and Alien Romulus. I haven't seen Covenant or any of the others. They were playing on a movie marathon on FX at work, but I didn't get a chance to really. I was too busy. I didn't get a chance to watch them while I was at work.
Do you just have TVs on at work?
Where I'm at in the office. So we have TVs spread out throughout the office, and usually it plays like ESPN. Like I don't know, we're like a brokerage, so guys being dudes, you know. So they're usually playing ESPN or some sports or some shit. Like when the Olympics were on, they had Olympic coverage the whole time. But
women's beach volleyball,
you know, right on. A little breakdancing.
Hold on, side tangent. I was at the mall today. Have you seen the mannequins nowadays?
No.
Why do the mannequins have nipples?
You know, they're really trying to sell the sheer shirts.
I mean, it was like dresses and shit. It was just like the mannequins had they were caked up. They had freaking big old gazongos. They had freaking nipples poking through. I was like, what is going on?
Hell yeah, brother.
Like 20 years ago, this would have been like, people would have been like,
would have been
that's
scandal.
Just depraved.
Yeah. Nah, not anymore. But yeah, so yeah, I'm in my own little world of the office with like 2 other guys who are in my same position, and we're not very much ESPN guys, so we just throw on FX all day. That's what we watch. So it's just movies all day long. Yeah, so I haven't really gotten to see. I am planning to go back and watch all of them after this.
I'm gonna be honest.
I want the full lore.
Apart from Alien and Aliens, just in general, not very good.
Oh yeah, that's what I've heard. But
yeah,
I'm gonna do it anyways.
So, was this your first time watching Alien and Aliens?
It was definitely my first time watching Aliens. I have seen Alien in passing, but I don't think I've ever sat down and just watched it start to finish. I've caught some here and there. I knew the gist of it, but I'll say this is probably this is probably the first time I sat down and really watched it and paid attention.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So. Guess we'll start there. Alien, classic.
Alien.
This is an iconic movie. Atmospheric. It's got body horror going on. I saw a post today on Twitter actually that was one of the scariest things about alien isn't even the monster. It's they show up on this place and there's a ship, and on the ship is just the navigator, right? Who's like this skeletal dude who's just like, I mean, he's dead, but it's like completely unexplained.
Yeah.
Kind of showing like, yeah, humans were like taking our first steps out into space and whatnot, and there are things that are like larger than us out there. Literally. And
yeah. No, going into this, I mean, I kind of knew what I was getting into, but I'll say, like, I understand why they continue to build it out. Like, you do, I think you do, especially from, like, the encounter with, like, the navigator and, like, the ship and everything. And you're kind of just like, why is this here? Like, why did it crash land on here? Like, what's going on? Like, why was the ship transporting these eggs?
Yeah. Or the other side was this, like, the same sort of situation where, you know,
yeah, and
the eggs were there and then the ship got overrun. Just
to confirm, I did catch this part. Like, I caught like a little bit of Prometheus. This is the ship that's leaving the planet in Prometheus, right?
Same style. It's not the same ship.
Oh, okay. I wasn't certain. I just like, I caught like the part where they're just like, we got to stop that ship. It's like heading to Earth, and like it looked like the same sort of ship.
Yeah, it's the same variety of ship, but it's a different one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Because it's the same ship in Aliens.
Okay.
Because Aliens takes place on that. They have terraformed the little. Do they call it an asteroid or what in this? They've terraformed the space rock that the ship is on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Alien, you know, they show up because there's they think might be a distress signal, but you kind of get the implication that the company kind of knows or might have an idea of what this is, and they want to get their hands on whatever it is. Alien technology has a lot of corporate interest.
Yeah. Because like going back to Alien, I mean, so this is a ship sent to that just from the beginning. It's sent to that distress signal, or what they think is a distress signal. Yeah, so that's what gets them into it, right? Is like,
yeah. So that's what like pulls the ship out of basically out of like stasis. Causes Mother to wake up the crew and pull them out of hypersleep.
Yeah, because I think they said like they were only like halfway back, right?
Yeah. So then they roll up in there and they start poking around, and the legendary John Hurt gets his face sucked.
It's that face. He gets a little face suck.
He gets that bad suck.
Yeah. No, I mean from the get-go, which I mean, you know, Ripley is our. I mean, she's our main character.
Yeah, she's our point of view, because all of that stuff we're seeing through her watching the cameras and whatnot.
No, and I mean from the beginning you get that. I don't know. You know, like she's obviously the only one trying to follow protocols. Like she's the one who's like, you know, hey, let's not let them back in the fucking ship. Yeah, she's like, hey, we're not letting them in. Like we're breaking quarantine. And then, you know, you've got what's her name? Everyone who's outside is just like, hey, we got to get him in here. We got to save him. And like, he's beyond saving. We all know.
Yeah. Well, at first it seems like this thing has just attached itself to him, and they don't really know what else it's doing, right?
That's fair.
But then once they get him inside, and it's actually the android that lets him back in.
Which we find out later is due to some underlying motivations.
Yeah.
Who's the android?
The android is it Ian?
I think it is Ian Holm. It's what is it? Science Officer Ash, right? Which is who you named your dog after.
Sure.
She's really an android.
Am I confused, or is this not Mr. Bean?
Who?
Who the
Ian
heck
Holm?
is Mr. Bean?
He's just Mr. Bean.
Who's he? Oh, he's played by Rowan Atkinson. Yeah, I'm an idiot. Doesn't he kind of look like him, though?
Yeah, a little bit, honestly.
Yeah. Anyway, I guess we can kind of talk about cast here, right? So, an absolutely loaded cast. You've got, obviously Sigourney Weaver. Tom Skerritt, Veronica Cartwright, John Hurt, Ian Holm, Harry Dean Stanton, Yaphet Kotto. He's one of those faces that you recognize from a lot of the movies from the 70s and 80s. Just in general, very good cast, and everyone does a very good job portraying their role, I would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, so John Hurt in particular, that dude's legendary. He's been in everything.
Yeah.
I do think that, I don't know, I kind of feel, she's the main quote main character, our perspective, but I do feel like Sigourney Weaver is kind of the standout in this. Probably
definitely.
Because we get so much more of her than all the other characters. Once things start popping off, characters start falling out pretty quick.
Yeah.
Dallas, the captain, he's pretty, everyone's cool. Everyone's cool in this movie.
Yeah. Well, that's you understand, you can be like, wow, they're fucking stupid for letting him back on, but you pointed out, they don't know what's going on. All they know is this thing has attached itself to his face, so they're going to do what they can to save him.
Yeah, and it's the natural human response to try to save people.
Now, and granted, Ripley is trying to follow protocol, which makes sense, but obviously there's other forces at play here. But I think in general, looking at all these characters, there's not a character I would really pick out and be like, yeah, I don't like them. I feel like everyone plays their character well, and everyone, you do get the feeling that this is an actual crew, because everyone, they have their titles, they have their role, and I feel like everyone portrays that well.
Yeah, and I think something that everyone says about this movie is that the characters are written intelligently. None of them do just blatantly stupid things to make the plot happen. Yeah. For the most part, you have the established rules, right? They're all, like you said, they have their positions, they have their responsibilities, and then despite that, despite certain people trying to make sure the protocols are being followed, things still fall apart. And yeah, it is kind of interesting that the story hinges on that natural human response, that sort of empathetic response, I think, to save someone who's in danger.
Yeah.
But then things keep getting modified, so at first they try to cut the facehugger off of Kane. And it turns out that the thing has acidic blood that starts burning through, and they're scared it's going to burn through the hole, and it also chokes him.
Yep. Which I gotta say, from the get-go, the acid blood in a ship that obviously needs to hold its integrity. I as a concept, it's beautifully like they use it so much, and it's like it's so well done. It's like, yeah, this is like this would be a fucking problem.
Yeah.
And like, you know, obviously we'll get into it when it's like Romulus and stuff, but like it's a consistent that it's just like, yeah, like you really like you got to be careful. Like you can't just kind of mindlessly go at these. Like that's what keeps, I think, Alien in general as like a franchise from being too much of like mindless, like kind of running gun sort of frenzy against these like, you know, this like force of aliens.
Especially in this movie, where it is taking place on a ship, it limits things in such a way that it makes people have to play a sort of game of chess with this whole situation, where they're trying to figure out like how do we get rid of this thing without dooming ourselves, basically. Which is, I mean, they come up with like, oh, we'll use the flamethrower, you know, which is a bright idea, you know.
Yeah.
For better and worse, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then you get all the scenes of like Dallas creeping through the like air ducts, basically. It's like very claustrophobic, and it does all of that really well.
Yeah, they do a good job of building tension throughout the movie.
I would say this is definitely a movie that just like it doesn't really let the tension off. Like it just keeps cranking down on it until the end of the movie, and then like you are as relieved as the main character is when everything's said and done. Very cathartic in that way too.
Yeah. I would agree for sure. I mean, you do just feel like it makes you get a sense of like not being like the crew throughout this entire thing. As soon as like, you know, they realize there's an issue, like that they're being invaded. Like I feel like they do a good job of making you feel as unsafe as the crew. Like you can get that sense of like tension and that sense of like stress. Yeah. That you're just like, oh yeah, at no point am I safe. Like if I was on the ship, like I need to either be off this ship or like be gone.
But it's also that it's not just that this alien stuff is going on. It's that there are also issues with the ship that are like actively in need of repair.
Yeah, exactly. Because like, I mean, otherwise you're just stranded on this fucking rock.
Yeah. With a ship full of eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like even once they get off the rock and they're like floating through space again, and then the issues with the alien start getting worse and worse.
Well, because then it's even worse. Because I mean, you have nowhere to go. Like you can't just leave the ship. And I think they do a good job of building that sense of just like the immensity and just like nothingness of space. Because you're just like, oh, like they're trapped on this ship with a fucking like this with a xenomorph, and like they don't have anywhere to go. Like they got to get rid of it somehow. That's like the only option.
Yeah, and it would be, you know, years until you get back to society, basically, within the like hyperspace or hypersleep system that they've established.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like this is a classic for a reason. Like there's as far as like horror genre goes, this is like a 10 out of 10 for a horror movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd agree. I really like this. I mean,
as far as like broad film, like maybe 9.5.
Yeah, that's. I think that's where I was going to go. I was going to go with a 9.5 on it. Just generally, it's just. I mean, you get why it is like hailed as a classic, and you like it makes sense why they've built this like franchise off of it. That, you know, unfortunately has had some misses, but I mean, at least according to some people, I haven't witnessed it yet. But
yeah,
I will go back and watch them.
Alrighty. So that's Alien. Overwhelmingly 2 thumbs up, I guess, from us.
Yeah, highly recommend. If you haven't seen them, or if you haven't seen at least Alien, go see it.
Yeah,
it's on Hulu.
That was Ridley Scott who directed that, famously. Aliens was directed by James Cameron, who we're returning to from last week, because last week we were talking about Terminator 2 Judgment Day, which is James Cameron. And I think I mentioned in there that he made some very interesting decisions within that franchise, right? Because we got girl getting chased by killer robot. How do we one-up that? And we do girl and son with killer robot getting chased by killer robot. And this movie I mentioned because Aliens goes, well, you've already seen the Alien. How do we step up on that? And it's make a lot more aliens and
just throw an S at the end, make it plural.
Also, that's such a good idea, or like it works so well for this franchise to be like, yeah, we're not going to name it Alien 2, we're going to name it Aliens.
Yeah.
And that's plural, and the plot of the movie.
It's so simple yet so effective.
Yeah. Because, I don't know, like, I appreciate whenever movies in sequence have different names. I'm real sick of, like, Moana 2, Frozen 3, Toy Story 5. I don't even know. I don't even know where I'm going with that. But this movie's fucking sick.
Yeah.
I fucking love this movie.
Yeah. No, I mean, you kind of get it all. Like, I mean, it is a fitting sequel because I mean, you get your returning heroine, like you get, so Ripley back, who obviously knows like, she said she was trying to explain from the beginning, like they find her and she's like, hey, there's a fucking ship out there with a bunch of these fucking eggs on this like colony, or like, well, I guess it wasn't a colony at the time, but they have colonized it since then because she was in cryosleep for 57 years.
Yeah.
And her trying to be like, yeah, there's an issue. Like these things fuck, and they fuck hard. Literally. They'll strap onto your face and fuck you.
But yeah, you get the whole like, one of these things wiped out my entire crew, and they were like grizzled space truckers, a colony of like soft little settlers is not gonna like put up anything near what we did, for one of these. And then you get the revelation from fucking what's his name, from Burke, played by Paul Reiser. The plant that rock or whatever has been settled for like a couple years now, right?
Yep.
But let's just go into the cast real quick. So, Paul Reiser, Carter Burke in this movie. He's been in like Stranger Things. You've got Lance Henriksen, which is the dude's been in like every horror movie. He was in like, was it Pumpkinhead or whatever? He's been in like a shit ton of stuff. You've got Michael Biehn, who is the guy who sent back in time in the first Terminator. You've got Bill Paxton. Bill Paxton's been in everything.
Yep.
Jeanette Goldstein is Vasquez. She is fantastic.
What a role. What a fucking character.
Yeah, like such a good character.
And you know what? A fitting end, because it's really funny, like the way she goes out. Yeah. I think I turned to Casey at one point and I go, man, Vasquez is such a badass. She better go out like clutching a grenade, like blowing the shit out of like a bunch of these things and like collapsing this tunnel. Kind of did.
Just goes out.
Kind of went that way.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
All-star cast.
everyone in this cast is very good at what they're doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, plot of this is basically like the company has lost contact with the settlement, with the colony. So they're going to send a team of colonial marines there. The colonial marines are the best of the best as far as like space shit goes. So, and this movie introduces so many cool fucking things, like the auto-targeting machine guns and shit, and the fucking drop ship that they show up in. Like you can see the direct relation on like the cool shit in this and the Imperial Guard for like Warhammer 40k.
Yeah.
Like these dudes just straight up look like the oh fuck, what are they called?
The Astra Militarum.
Yeah, but
Is
like
that
specifically the that like that one regiment. Oh my god.
Oh, is that I think I know the word you're. Is it? It's not. No, I'm thinking of the tank, the Lehman Russ.
No, they've got the fucking Kaiserkin.
Yeah.
Can't believe. Yeah. Can't remember. God damn it. What the fuck are they called? With the planet that exploded?
Fuck. Acadians.
Yeah, so like you can straight up see the influence of the colonial marines on the aesthetic of the Acadians from Warhammer 40k.
Yeah.
But you also get some of that like 80s kind of stuff with like the red bandana that Vasquez wears, very similar to like the Rambo red bandana and the Predator stuff with like Arnold, and I think we'll probably watch that for next week. But
yeah,
like all these action movies from the 80s just affecting like 40k as far as like aesthetic goes. But like definitely the colonial marines from Aliens are the influence for the Acadians from 40k.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can definitely see that. I think that the nice thing is like you get the feeling that like they know what they're doing, and I think that's the nice thing about this movie is like they go into the situation, they start getting off, and it's like you're not sitting there going like, damn, they're real incompetent. It's like, oh, they just like they kind of made fun of it at the beginning, like, oh, they're like, she's seen an alien, and then like I think they realize like just how outmatched they are by these things.
And it kind of comes through more so with like they're being overwhelmed by them, right? Like they haven't brought enough Marines.
Yeah. Because you could take them out. I mean, you could shoot them and take them out. It's just like it.
But even like once they've holed in for the night and they're like, oh fuck, they cut the power.
Yeah.
Like you're starting to get the idea that these aliens are not just like mindless killing machines, that, oh no, there is intelligence behind them. And then you find out that like, yeah, there's a whole greater will behind these things, because they've managed to set up a whole queen for this colony. So they take the idea of humans colonizing this thing, and then they kind of subvert your expectation, and actually the aliens have colonized, and you've got this queen that's like laying eggs and shit.
Yep.
Wild stuff. Wild stuff. And you get all that stuff about like, oh, they don't kill you when they take you. Instead, they take you, they fucking cement you to the wall, and then they let a damn face hugger fuck your face.
Yeah. They're you're their warm incubator for the next one.
Oh yeah. But yeah, so like you get so many cool scenes in this. So like you've got all of the restrictions in Alien, right? Like they have acid blood, so you can't just be blasting, whereas this one takes place on the terraformed, we'll just call it a planet, I guess. You don't have to worry about the acid so much. What you do have to worry about is over-penetrating and hitting one of the, was it hydrogen tanks or something like that for the power plant? Anyway, the fuel tanks for the power plant.
Yeah, I think they're just like, they're like the coolant, right? Because they're just like, oh yeah, if you like hit those, the shit's gonna overheat and blow.
Yeah, it'll be like a nuclear explosion, basically. Yeah. And I love the whenever Gorman's like, oh shit, Sergeant, what's his name? Take everyone's magazines. And then you see like half of them like ferret away their mags, and then Hickson, right?
Yeah,
Michael Bihn's character Hickson pulls out the fucking pump shotty, and you're just like, that's so fucking cool.
Yeah. No, like also Vasquez just being like, oh, here, like handing out some ammo.
Yeah. And like
being prepped.
You don't get to know all of the Marines very well, because a lot of them die in that initial foray, I guess. But the ones you do get to know, like Hudson and Hicks and Vasquez and even like Drake for a bit, like they're all just so fucking cool, dude.
Yeah.
Because like when you're watching this, I feel like as a guy, when you're watching things, you're like, who am I? And like any of these characters would be fucking cool to be. Like the big LMG guys with like the mounted support systems, right? So Vasquez and what's his name? I just said his name.
Hickson. Drake.
Yeah, and then just like to watch them like gradually come to terms with like they go from being like, oh, we're the meanest, killingest motherfuckers in the universe to like, oh fuck, we're all gonna die, we're all gonna fucking die, and like Hudson's having a fucking meltdown. And you get that legendary line like, game over, man, game over. Like this movie's so quotable.
Yeah.
Vasquez, have you ever been mistaken for a man? No, Hudson, have you? Oh man,
some really good lines in there.
For real.
Yeah, I mean, then you have the kid come in. So not only do you have like stakes to like, Newt, I believe. You know, she prefers to be called by Newt. But no, so like now you run into like, not only do you have to like, you know, survive and get off the planet, but like, you know, obviously you have this like instinct to protect the child, the most innocent of the group. Yeah.
And it also plays into Ripley's character development because she's got like survivor's guilt, right? From the first movie. And like chiefly because she wasn't able to save anyone else, and then she is able to save Newt, and that is a good ending to the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually watched the extended version of this movie for the first time when I watched it this most recent time. And they've got a bunch of scenes in there of Newt's family like driving out to the ship and being like, "Oh, we picked up a signal and there could be like some good stuff out there." And then like her dad is the one that's like gets face hugged first and whatnot.
Damn.
Like later on, whenever they find the one woman in the like hive or whatever, that's Newt's mom.
Damn.
Yeah. So like a lot of those scenes got cut just for like pacing, I think. But I honestly don't think that the special edition or extended edition is like paced any worse. I think it's still very good. I actually highly recommend it because they got scenes in there that are interesting.
Nice.
Yeah. And you get all sorts of like interesting stuff in this. You got like the alien in the water, which is it just adds a level to the helplessness.
Yeah, honestly, very menacing, that scene where like Newt's in the water and you just have that like you have the xenomorph just rise from behind her out of the water. Very, very menacing shot.
Oh yeah, iconic.
Yeah.
Whenever like Hudson later on is like having his meltdown, it's Ripley goes, Hudson, fucking relax or whatever. Newt was able to survive here for twice that amount of time because at first they're like, help isn't going to come for like 17 days or something like that. And he's like, 17 days, we're fucked. And she's like, Newt survived for twice that already, and she's just a little girl, so we have to be able to survive for longer than that.
Yeah.
And then the stakes get elevated because in the shootout earlier, one of the tanks got ruptured, and the power plant is doing emergency venting. And so you learn that you're on like a very tight time frame at that point to get off of the planet.
Yeah.
Which is even worse because your dropship fucking exploded, and now you have to figure out an alternative way to get off.
Yep.
Meanwhile, they're under attack. You've got the super cool like auto turrets. To my mind, this is the first time that I've seen like auto turrets in something, which I think we do have now in the modern day, like automatic turret weaponry like that, but like that's not like a field deployable thing that we have.
Yeah,
a lot of the weaponry and stuff in this movie is like very cool because it's like combined with this kind of futuristic stuff, but also like old reliable. Like pulling out a fucking pump shotgun is the most American thing you could possibly do.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you know this or not, but in World War I, Germany tried to get using shotguns put on the war crimes list because when the Americans showed up to trench warfare, we brought slamfire pump shotguns and just fucking annihilated the trenches, basically. And then we won, so it wasn't a war crime. So, very cool to see shotguns still have their place in the far future.
Yeah. Hey, a very efficient weapon.
Oh yeah. But yeah, and then like the climax of the movie where like there's an exploding hangar and shit and everything's on fire and there's like sirens going off and Ripley's in the flippin' hauler mech, whatever.
Yeah,
that thing was called.
You see it come in as soon as like they're loading up to go drop down onto the planet or the rock, whatever the fuck it is, and you just see her hop in that thing, be like, oh, I'll help out, like I'll help load, and she hops in there, and you're just like, oh, this is coming, like there's gonna be a point this comes back around.
Yeah, because in your mind you're like,
sure enough,
It'd be pretty cool to see one of those fight an alien.
Yep. No, exactly. And thank God we did. Like, it's one thing that it's not something that you'd like roll your eyes at and be like, damn, like, of course they're gonna have it. Like, it's something that's like, oh yeah, I really want to see this, and then it ends up happening. And you're like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this whole movie is that though. It's like, oh, I really want to see this, right? Because you have all the restrictions in the first movie, and for this movie, they're like, no restrictions, balls to the wall, heavy machine guns, assault weapons. You got the fucking like the pulse rifles, which become like iconic for this franchise. Flamethrowers, like all of this shit is like in this movie. Shotguns, auto turrets, hauler mechs that go toe to toe with a queen alien. You got fucking cool ass dropships. The spaceships are cool. Just in general, the spaceships in this franchise, I'm gonna say they tend to stay cool.
Yeah.
There was one, I'll probably bring it up later, where I'm like, it's just like really cliche. But for the most part, the ships, the space stuff is all very cool.
Yeah.
So yeah. Like, in general, I would say the effects for these things are very good. Especially these first two movies, because everything was like 100% practical. They look really good and they hold up really good.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. I think, man, it just looks so good.
Like, even the dropship crashing and like rolling and like nearly fucking crushing them, that still looks good.
Yeah.
Like, that holds up way better than a lot of CGI in modern movies. Probably because like it's a layered shot, right? So like they have the shot of the ship crashing, rolling, exploding and whatnot, and then that's composited with the shots of them running across the rocks to try and get into cover so that they don't get crushed. Yeah, it's just like a really good composite. The sets look fucking cool. Again, ships are good, but like all the hive stuff is really interesting. The aliens are fantastic. The queen at the end looks super fucking menacing when it comes out of the extra elongated. Yeah, like the big crest kind of thing that she has.
Yeah.
And when she comes out of the fucking elevator is like horrifying. Like, this motherfucker knows how to ride an elevator.
Yeah. Yeah, 'cause, like, I mean, this is the movie where like you know, the first one you don't really get that sense. Like, you don't get as much of a like sense of intelligence.
Yeah.
This is the one that establishes like, oh shit, like they cut the power. They can ride fucking elevators. Like,
they hitch a ride and survive the trip into space, into the actual ship. Where then the queen fucking rips the android in half, and you're like, oh shit. Like, because the whole movie is like built up your trust in Bishop, and then to see him just get fucking annihilated is like, oh no.
Yeah.
And yet at the end he saves Newt, and it's awesome.
He does, yeah.
And they shoot the fucking alien out the
airlock.
See ya. Which seems to be the only universally viable way of dealing with these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, so honestly, I think that this movie is right up there with Alien. I think that like it's the perfect sequel to a movie like that. Because it's not just trying to recapture what made the first one popular or successful. It is taking what was established and doing something different with it with the same rules, right? So you still have the acid blood. Like, they shoot the one point blank when they're trying to get back into their vehicle transport, and the fucking blood splatters all over, like, I think two people, and they're both like screaming and shit because they're covered in acid blood, which again is not good. Yeah. And there's even comments in this for like, why is the acid not as effective as it was in the first movie, and it's like because it's oxidizing quicker.
Yeah.
Because of like the terraforming or whatever that's been done on the planet.
Yeah, honestly, makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, I again would say that like as far as like 80s action movies go, this is once again like a 10, and as a movie, just like broadly speaking, probably a 9.5. This is an iconic film. This is an iconic sequel, and everything from the cast, set, spectacle, sound design, like all of it is phenomenal.
Yeah. I'll agree with you on that. I think Alien and Aliens both side by side. Incredible.
Yeah. For sure. Now, before we get to Romulus, I want to do like a brief overview of the movies that have come between.
Yeah. Because we get what? So next we get Alien 3.
Yeah, so Alien 3, I hate Alien 3. Like, the opening of the movie ruins the end of Aliens. They get rid of Michael Bihn's character and Newt. They kill them off screen. Like, they kill them off movie, basically. It's endlessly frustrating. And they once again go back to trying to be like the first movie. I haven't seen the quote director's cut of 3, so I don't know if that one actually solved anything or made it like a half decent movie, but I don't like 3. I'll say that. After 3 is Alien Resurrection, which is complete and utter fucking dog shit. They just do the dumbest fucking shit. So you've got like Weyland-Yutani or whatever, who has it's the company across all of these movies. They have cloned Ripley. They're trying to clone the alien. It's horrible. I hate it.
Yeah.
I will never watch that one ever again. It's that bad. I do not like it.
Fair.
So after that one came out, I think the Alien versus Predator movies came out. I'm not even going to talk about those. They're their own thing.
Or are we doing those next week too?
I think we're gonna. I don't know. Should we do those or should we do like Predator 2, Predators? I don't even know. Because there's a whole separate franchise of Predator movies now, all the way up through like Prey now.
All right. Well, we'll do the 3 Predator movies, and then we can also talk about the Mr. Beast fiascos.
Oh, yikes.
You know, it goes hand in hand. Little controversy. I had to throw a little controversy in there, you know?
All right. So outside of that, then the next kind of alien movie is Prometheus. Prometheus. Dude, if the fucking recording is fucked up again, I'm gonna lose my shit.
Oh, I don't have
anything.
anything.
Sounding weird or anything?
No, you've been sounding fine.
All right, cool. Because it's like been blipping me out. That was like the second time it's done it so far. I'll edit this out. 3, 2, 1. All right, so Prometheus is kind of like a prequel to these things. You've got like the first intergalactic space travel going on the ship, the Prometheus. Whenever they show up to a place where they have been receiving signals from. When they get there, they essentially find this big ruin. It introduces all of this like black liquid stuff into the greater narrative of the alien stuff. But like your characters are supposed to be these elite scientists, and they're idiots. They do dumb shit constantly. This like very beautiful movie, but story-wise, kind of meh. Like, probably
Fair.
worth a watch, but I don't think the story is that good.
Yeah.
After Prometheus, you get Alien Covenant, which is you have a colony ship who there's a destructive event that happens, so it pulls the crew out of hypersleep. Whenever they get out of hypersleep, they pick up a signal that is on a very nearby planet that somehow got missed in the scans and reads and whatnot for the sector. The signal turns out to be John Denver's "Take Me Home, Country Roads."
Nice.
So they go there because they're like, "Why is this human? Like, how it's impossible for a human to be here? How are they sending this signal out?" Etc. Etc. So they show up. They also find a downed ship. It turns out that this is the ship from Prometheus. At the end of the movie, they escape on one of the big navigator ships, which is actually the same ship that you saw in Alien and Aliens. The same style of ship, I should say. It's not the same ship. So a couple of guys get some weird black spores popped up into them. They start getting like real sick, and then little tiny proto aliens pop out of them, and they're like killing shit. And they get saved by an android who is David from the first movie. David looks exactly like the android in the crew, whose name is like Walter, I think. This movie, once again, it's kind of the opposite of Prometheus, and that like it's not nearly as pretty as Prometheus was, but the story is slightly better. It's still not a good story though. Like, I think across the board, Alien Covenant is like a meh movie. And I only watched it again recently because I was like, I don't think I ever saw that. And then I was watching it and I was like, oh, I did see this. I just forgot everything that happened in the movie because it's all so meh. Yeah, so again, another like forgettable movie. They're just trying kind of that way I've complained about Star Wars before. In trying to explain more things, they're making the world smaller and smaller and more like twisted in on itself, right? I think I've called that like incestuous. So like the world building becomes more incestuous and makes it smaller, and the mysteries are not big, grand mysteries anymore. They're like small, dopey, poorly written explanations for random shit that doesn't really serve the audience in a good way. And after Alien Covenant, we got a few years of quiet, and then now we've got Alien Romulus, directed by is his name Fede, or is it?
I think it's Fede Alvarez. I think it's Fede.
I've heard Fede. I've also heard Feed, so I have no clue. I'm gonna say Fede. Fede Alvarez. He directed the Evil Dead remake. He's done some other things. In general, pretty good director, I would say. In fact, I think that this movie only has the good moments that it does because of his directing. Yeah. This movie, I will say, I was really on board for like the first third. And then in the second third, I was like, all right, the pacing could be a little better. And the final third, the movie, I was like, oh boy, y'all went for it, and I didn't like the swing you took. So let's talk about that first third. You're introduced to this character, Rain, and her brother, Andy, who is an android. He tells dad jokes. He is apparently like a poorly functioning android. Good, well acted. I think the only two characters I really liked was Rain and him.
Yeah.
I kind of wish that their relationship, or I don't know, I think they could have been fleshed out a little better throughout the movie. But the setup for them, I think, was good. You're also introduced this like mining colony where the world isn't fully terraformed, so it is like eternal night. People die in the mines all the time. Life sucks. All of your main characters are like late teenagers, possibly early 20-year-olds. Which kind of makes sense with like all the old people die off quick because working here sucks.
Yeah.
I saw what they were going for, and I thought that was pretty good. Then to get off of the planet,
you have to meet a quota of like hours worked, which I believe hers was like 12,000 hours.
Yeah. 12,000 hours. So she goes in, she's like, I want to transfer to wherever, and they're like, sorry, quota got doubled. See you in another 5 to 6 years.
Yeah.
And life sucks. Andy gets mugged by middle schoolers with pipes or something. You see that he's malfunctioning. He got the shaky hands, and he has to be reset every time he takes a hard knock. Rain gets contacted by a guy she used to know. He says he's got a plan, and the plan is essentially, hey, this big space Hulk, probably a ship, drifted into orbit, and we're gonna take our ship up there, see if they have cryosleep pods, and if they do, we're gonna fucking zoot off to this other system, because we'll actually have cryosleep pods, which means that we can, make it there.
Yeah, because otherwise they can't. It's 9 years. It's 9 years to the closest planet, I believe they said, which is the one they're trying to go to. And I mean, like, it seems like they're, unless they're in cryosleep, they will not have enough resources to get there, enough food, enough whatever. So the only option is to go into cryosleep.
Yeah. So they get up there, and they realize, oh shit, that's not a ship, that's a fucking space station.
Yeah.
But
well, not only
check it out anyway.
Yeah, and all of that, they know from the get-go, whether it's a ship, space station, whatever, they know it's owned by Weyland-Yutani Corp.
Yeah.
So they know that very well that they're breaking the law.
Yeah. So they show up. They get onto the ship, the station, the space derelict. And it turns out that it's having problems. Its gravity generators are malfunctioning. It's not currently powered adequately. And, So the reason they needed Rain was for Andy, because Andy is a Weyland-Yutani android, so he should be able to access and operate the systems on the derelict.
He can speak to Mother.
He can speak to Mother, who is the central computer system for all these different spaceships and things with Weyland-Yutani. So they get him up there. Things are going well until they get locked behind a door. Turns out, because of this little lockdown that they have inadvertently caused, Andy's credentials don't fit anymore. So now Rain and Oh no,
Yeah.
what's the Asian girl's name?
I can't remember. No, it's damn it, Navarro.
Yeah. So now, Rain and Navarro have to go on to the derelict. They have left, I think, Kay. Yeah, let's just go through all the characters real quick. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Rain Carradine, main character, her brother Andy, the android. Then you've got Bjorn and his sister Kay, played by Spike Fearn and Isabella Merced. Then you have their cousin Tyler, played by Archie Renault, and his girlfriend Navarro, played by Eileen Wu. All right, that's our whole cast.
Yeah.
At this point, Kay is the only one still on the ship. She, it turns out, is pregnant. She has told that to Rain. So she's not feeling very well. Rain and Navarro, they're going through the ship. They see the big acid hole in the ship that has
half
dangerous.
of yeah. Well, they also find half of an android, the upper half of an android.
Yeah, an android that has had a lot of problems, it looks like.
Yeah, which also comes around later.
Yep. And so they pull the credentials out of that guy, and they run and stick it into Andy, which gives Andy...
Well, and all the while, because they have pulled some... I mean, they need fuel for the cryopods that they've just stolen. So they got those loaded. They're trying to get fuel, and that's the room they're in. It has all this cryo in there, and so they pull out a tank, and that's what triggers all this. So not only do they get trapped in this room with the alarms going off, it is now heating up at that point.
Yes.
Which I assume is because they took the tank. I don't think it had anything to do with the alarms, right? I think it just... I assume they took the tank, it triggered the alarms, but also triggered it to begin... everything to begin thawing.
Yeah. It looked like... I mean, it turns out this is a science station.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like this was possibly a combination storage and incubation chamber for what turns out to be a bunch of alien face huggers.
Yep.
So they stick the new credentials into Andy. Andy gets up. Well, Andy's downloading his update, I guess. In the meantime, room has gotten so hot that these fucking face huggers start popping out in the water. Bjorn and Tyler are stuck in there. They're fighting these things off. You get these... I'll say this. The scene of them... I forget which one it is, but they're like... Their hands are between them and the face hugger as it's like got its fingers around the back of their head, and they're like barely keeping it off of them. And the little fucking tube is like worming around and like in their mouth and shit. I was like, that's gross. I've seen other people also being like, I didn't need to see someone's face getting fucked by one of those things.
No, we needed it. They had to show it. We needed it.
I didn't think it was bad. Yeah. Like, I don't think it was bad for the movie. If being in that situation, yeah, I'd be like, that's fucking gross.
Yeah.
So they managed to get out of there without anything too terrible happening. Until one of these little guys happens to slip through the door and latches itself onto Navarro. At this point, Andy has downloaded his update. They're all running. They get into a different room. The thing has latched itself onto Navarro, and she's like unconscious on the ground.
Yeah.
They try to pull it off. It starts to tighten, and then Andy turns around, and he's not. Oh shit! What's the name of the character from fucking Tropic Thunder? He's not Simple Simon anymore. I don't know what the character's name is, but he ain't a dum-dum no more. He turns around, he has an English accent. That's how you know he's smarter.
Simple Jack.
Simple Jack. Yes. He's no longer Simple Jack. He turns around. He's gotten the update.
Yeah.
He's like, don't do that. It's going to crush your throat or something like that. And yeah. So then they start trying to figure out alternatives. This also happens to be the room where the half of the android from before is. And it turns out that this is another model of the android that was Ash in Alien. This one's name is Rook.
Rook. And they have a CGI'd young Ian Holm face.
I'll be honest.
Expected on there.
It looks terrible.
It does look terrible. It was pretty bad. And I was like,
I've heard people refer to it as a cheap fake instead of a deep fake.
Yeah. Well, and I was like, is it just like bad, or were they trying to go for a like very fake, like kind of synthetic look, like, or like making it clear he's like an android? But like the whole point is like the androids look real. Like you look at Andy, you can't tell that he's like an android. So like, why are we? I don't know. Yeah, it was just bad.
Yeah. Which is weird because a lot of the other CGI in the movie looks really good. Like the ships in space and all that shit looked really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just I don't know why they did that. Because everything practical in the movie looks pretty good, I would say. I don't know why they couldn't find a more practical method of doing that. And part of me is like, they did it because they wanted the callback to Alien.
Yeah.
Was that necessary? Did that improve the scene or the movie? I don't think so. Like, it's telling you as the audience, like, hey, don't trust this character. Remember that this character isn't trustworthy from the other movie. You could have just had this be a different android, though. And you could have stuck, like, another recognizable actor in that role. Because, let's talk about the casting real quick. Most of these people are not particularly noteworthy. Like, I don't know... I can't really name another movie that any of these people have been in. Except for Isabella Merced, who plays Kay. I think she was in... I think she was in Madam Web.
Oh no.
Yeah, she's the I believe she's like the Latino girl in a little trio of girls. David Johnson, I think, is by far the best performance. He's Andy. And I think that Kaylee Spaney was also pretty good. But she doesn't get a lot to work with, really. God, dude, her freaking her about on Google, when you look at her, says her first major role was in the science fiction film Pacific Rim Uprising. Oh man, the second Pacific Rim movie was not good.
Yeah.
Rip. Anyway, I think she's pretty good in this. She's definitely not Sigourney Weaver, though.
Yeah.
There is, across the board, a magnitude of gravitas lacking from the cast of this movie. Talking about Alien, like we said, all of those characters were, like, intelligent, well-written, and had, like, interesting reactions to the situations they were going through. This one,
you pretty much hate Bjorn. You hate Bjorn off rip, and he makes stupid decisions. He's an idiot.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I got that backwards. Tyler and Kay are siblings. Bjorn is the cousin.
Oh, okay.
Wah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Bjorn and Navarro are together.
Yes, Bjorn and Navarro are the ones that are together.
But yeah, no, because Kay is pregnant. She doesn't know whose it is, and then I think Tyler and Rain seem like they have a thing.
Yeah,
maybe, or like some sort of history.
You get the impression that like they might have used to date or be close or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say they are trying to make you not like Bjorn immediately. He bullies Andy because apparently his parents got the
his mom was in the mines when there was a gas leak, and in order to save dozens more miners, 3 including Bjorn's mom died at the hands of an android who decided to seal off the mine.
Yeah, so that's how that goes down. God, man, like I feel like they could have just condensed a lot of this. Like,
yeah,
they go onto the ship, they get back off the ship, they're moving the ship around and whatnot. Because I think whenever they first dock, they go to like a utility port or something like that, and then once they get power back to the station, then they go to they move the ship to an actual like air dock or whatever it is. Then after this alien shit happens, Andy is basically told by Rook that humans are too fucking emotional. You're gonna have to make sure that the shit goes down right. So then it's implied that Andy is going to try and kill Navarro. Navarro and Bjorn book it back to the ship.
Yeah, where they begin to attempt leaving. Well, I don't know about leaving, but like Bjorn does say, he's like, yeah, I'll come back and pick you up, but like you got to shut Andy down.
Yeah, but it's kind of too late for that because Navarro, her alien is coming out through her chest, and someone like kicks the joystick or whatever for the ship, and it starts just like wheeling around the.
Yeah, she does as she's going down because I mean it's literally like busting through the ribs in her upper chest.
Yeah, I mean, cry more.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think at that moment, Bjorn is attempting to like come up the ladder. Kay is like trying to help her, and then she just goes down, kicks that stick, and they all get like fucking thrown. Like Bjorn falls down the ladder, all the way to the bottom into the cargo hold.
Yeah.
Kay gets thrown to the side and gets knocked out, and so at that point they're just drifting around the station. They like hit one of the engines and causes it to speed up its trajectory into the rings of the planet.
Yeah,
where it's going to collide.
The angle so it will collide quicker. So instead of like what was it,
36
like
hours.
36 hours, they got like
it's like an hour
or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So their ship that they arrived there on like fucking crashes into the hangar somehow.
Yeah, miraculously just bebops around the station and into the hangar.
Yeah, which is
kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, that did happen, and I went, what are the chances?
That's what I said. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, if that was open, why didn't they just fucking land there?
100%. Exactly.
Y'all didn't have like a spacesuit for someone to like go in and then close the hangar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, clearly they do have spacesuits because at the end of the movie, she puts one on.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. So. Also, like, in Alien and in Aliens, there was like a solid incubation period, right? From the time when Navarro gets face hugged to her getting into the ship, you don't feel like it's been more than like tops 10-15 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's probably closer to like 5 minutes. And already this thing is popping out of her. I think this is an issue that the series has had since Aliens, because like Aliens has like in a stab, like it's still functioning with the same like incubation period that Alien had, right?
Yeah.
Or at least like it doesn't show that being changed at all. Whereas like Alien Covenant had shit growing very quickly. Prometheus had shit growing very quickly. I can't remember if the other ones had shit growing very quickly, but this is definitely like a modern issue, right? Where like, oh, if you get face hugged within 5 minutes, this thing's gonna pop out of you. Okay.
Yeah.
Beggars belief, but all right. So after all that shit goes down, Andy, Rain, Tyler, they have to navigate through the facehugger infested section of the space station. At the same time, Kay has come back conscious. She sees that Navarro is fucking dead. And as she is trying to navigate her way off of their ship that they showed up on, Bjorn pops up behind her, basically points out like there's a fucking alien there. So you see this like chrysalid, I would say. Isn't that the name for the like cocoon or whatever that
a
fucking
a chrysalis?
Yes, I'll just say cocoon. You got this fucking alien cocoon on the side where it's like undergoing a metamorphosis. Bjorn tries to do an abortion.
Yeah. Yeah, he hooks his little shocky stick. He hooks it up and just rams that thing in there.
Yeah, and ends up, I don't know, like I thought he blew the power to the ship, but then like at the end of the movie the ship still has power, so I don't know if that was just like a generator on the ship or something. Anyway, blows that shit. Alien comes out pissed. I think anyone would be. I hate when I get woken up early. Bjorn dies in a pretty horrific way. Just gets acid trickled all over him. Kay starts booking it. Alien's trying to get her. The alien goes off on its own whenever it can't get her and starts just like laying eggs and shit. Which is interesting because I guess they're going to like any body. It doesn't have to be like a living body can birth an alien. So the alien goes around on the space station, collects all the dead bodies, cements them to the wall, and then starts like, I guess they all get face huggers in them and they grow out of dead bodies.
Yeah, I'm guessing. Yeah.
Because I thought that like they needed to be incubated in a living
warm body. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not certain. Because that was weird that it like grabbed those dead bodies. Because I wasn't sure. Like I was like, okay, are these the dead bodies, or is this just like the part of the ship that is like the hive that's like where this? Because like obviously some shit went down beforehand. I'm like, is it just the one that's like hanging in that first room? That was like the issue that like wiped out the entire crew of this like space station, or were there already like a bunch of these like living in here and it was just like a sealed off area that they eventually accessed?
Yeah, I guess thinking about it more, that's not really explained very well.
No.
Because if it was just that one alien and that like a dude took it out at the end, like they took each other out, like he killed it, but then it fucking like acid melted him or something. Then yeah, like I guess there should be more aliens on the ship already, right?
Yeah. No idea. Because it's not, that's just not.
Yeah, I guess that's not addressed.
No. Because that was my thing. I was like, okay, like, I thought that too. I was like, why is it grabbing these dead bodies? Like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Curious.
Right. Guess we'll just keep going.
Yeah.
Damn. So what happens then? Oh yeah, they meet up on opposite sides of a door.
Yep. Okay. Yep.
Because
That
Kay is
part.
being chased by the alien now.
Mm-hmm.
And the alien, bright little bugger that it is, lets her run up to the door, start banging around, and then Andy's like, "We cannot let her in. It's hunting her. If we let her in, it will kill all of us."
And he's
And
not
they're
wrong.
like, "No." And then the alien fucking like picks her up with its tail and just like wanders off with her. And
Yep.
Tyler's like, "Fuck, she's dead." Because they don't know, like we know, the when they carry off, you're actually alive still.
Yep.
So they're skedaddling around. They come across the high-veer section of the ship where they've been cementing the walls with their alien coom. And then they're about to leave. Tyler goes, "Wait a second." And then they hear like distressed moans, I guess, from down the hallway. And Tyler goes booking it. And they're like, "Oh, fuck." So then they go with him. And then they find Kay. And she's okay.
Yeah.
Except for where she's bleeding a lot, you know?
Well, so...
Oh, shit. Forgot where they armored up.
Yeah, because I was going to say, before this is where they find the lab. And then it's also... We get the major plot point of what Rook was doing in the first place. Or like his directive, which is the Prometheus fire.
Yep, so that's where they start to tie in the Prometheus shit and the Alien Covenant shit, because you got the fucking black liquid here, which is...
Yep. It's oil.
It's annoying.
It's,
I want to be honest.
What do you call it? A non-Newtonian fluid?
Yeah. Do you know what a Newtonian fluid is?
Isn't it the stuff that's like...
So Newtonian liquids are liquids that obey Newton's laws for like liquid, right? Which is a liquid will take up like all available space in the vessel that it's poured into or whatever, right? So like, you know how water works? You pour water in and it flows, and if you put it into a cup, it like fills the bottom of the cup basically up to like the volume of the liquid.
Yeah.
A non-Newtonian liquid is a liquid that functions as a liquid when left on its own, but under certain circumstances will function differently, right? So the way they usually show that is if you put like a bunch of cornstarch in water, then you can still pour it and you can still do all these things that like liquids should be able to do. But like if you slap it, it behaves
solid.
like a solid. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That was the gist. Okay. That was kind of the idea I got in my mind, is exactly what you're describing there. The cornstarch water, sort of like the, you know, we've all done it like chemistry, I feel like. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, it's a weird way to describe a fucking element or something in a story. Just being like, it's a non-Newtonian liquid, and you're like, okay, so what does that mean though within the context of the story here?
Yeah. It's clear that this research station has been studying this. They have essentially the idea is you inject people with it and it allows them to continue to colonize, because essentially it advances evolution of humans.
And it's fucking revealed that the alien that they found to do all this research with is the alien that Ripley shot out of the fucking airlock in Alien.
Yes.
Which is like, did you have to do that?
Yeah. Which we see at the beginning of the movie. It's like a ship retrieves like it looks like an asteroid, like a small meteorite.
A fucking little rock. It looks like an alien rock.
And the alien is just like sleeping in there, and so that's like they retrieve it on a ship, and then you see the ship go to a space station, and then you see them like studying at the very beginning.
Yeah. So yeah, it turns out they've been using that alien for research on the station, I guess. And yeah, they show you a video of a I was so thrown off guard by this scene where they show you the video of the rat just getting fucking smashed by like a hydraulic press.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck was that? But then they show you like them injecting it with the fucking black liquid, and then it like corrects itself, and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then as they like leave the lab after they've gotten the M whatever burst rifles or whatever they're called.
Mm-hmm. Pulse rifles.
Pulse rifles. The camera pans over to the fucking rat cage, and there's this like gross mutant monstrosity. It's clearly dead though, so it's interesting they didn't do anything with that. They're just like, yeah, this bitch is dead in the crate, and he's like exploded out of it basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they leave. They got the guns. They save Kay from being face hugged, I guess. As they are collecting her body, a shit ton of aliens show up, and they're like, ah! And they're like, wait, we can't fucking shoot them because we're on a damn space station. They got acid blood.
Yes. That's exactly how they said it too.
Yeah, they went, oh shit, they got acid blood. I'll say this too. Talking about the guns real quick, the way they portray the guns, the auto-targeting shit was really cool. I don't think they would have had that setting on the same trigger as firing the gun. Because like in high-stress situations, you'd accidentally pull the trigger, you know? I feel like they'd have a secondary trigger. Or something.
Or something.
Still cool. I still like the guns. The guns were cool. The auto aim thing was very cool.
Yeah.
It's just like it's just gun guy gripe, I guess, to be like, yeah, I don't think they're gonna put the fucking safety feature on the same trigger as the fucking shooting trigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so then they fucking take off running. Doesn't Tyler get killed somewhere around this time?
Yeah, so this is like, and I will say this is the part of the movie that like it kind of lost me for sure. Yeah, this is where I think I noticed like the pacing was off, and it just felt like they moved into like, oh, this is like we're going for like just action, like lots of action.
Yeah.
And like I don't know. So yeah, this is where they like go running. Or no, yes, this is the part where they hear Kay and they go running in through the hive, because like they go through like the back of the lab, they find the hive, and they're like, we should go the other way. Andy and Rain say this. They're like, yeah. And they start heading to go.
They get like to the lift that they're trying to get to.
Yeah. Or no, I don't think they get to the because they hadn't gotten to the lift, right?
The blue laser thing is on the floor right there.
Well, no, because at first they go to like they were going to go head that way, and they were just like, we should go a different way, and they were going to go back into the lab and find a different way to go. Because remember, they weren't going to go the way they came from the lab, because they saw like the video screen like, oh, the alien's there.
I gotta pee real quick.
Put a pause on it.
I'll be right back.
Edit it here. Today's podcast is brought to you by Fisherman's Friend. If you have a cough, or if you're feeling sick, who should you turn to but Fisherman's Friend? The lozenge for you, to have you feeling as good as a fisherman out on the open sea on a bright sunny day. Get yourself some Fisherman's Friend today.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So yeah, no. So they see on the screen of the lab that the alien's outside. So like, we're gonna go this way. and they begin to go out the back way. And they see the hive. They're like, we should turn around and find a different way. And that is when your boy hears Kay. And so he starts taking off. So they're like, okay, well, I guess we're just fucking doing this. And that's where they like find her. And then he gets like stabbed and he gets like stabbed and dragged up like a hole in the ceiling.
Yeah, he gets pulled up into the ceiling, yeah.
Yeah, but they're able to grab her, and that's when they just press on through the hive, and that's where they get to the lift.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
So they get in the lift, but Andy gets knocked down. He goes into catatonic shock.
Yeah.
For a robot. Rain's like, well, I can't leave my brother, so she stops the lift, and then she's like, Kay, take this fucking black liquid up. Whenever you get to the ship, Rook. I mean, she doesn't say Rook because Kay doesn't know Rook, but whenever you get there, the autopilot will take you to the back to the colony. Yeah. Then she starts climbing down to go save Andy. Kay gets back onto the ship, but before she does that, she fucking stabs herself with the black liquid shit, and you're like, what an idiot. What a fucking idiot. Guys, don't do drugs.
Yeah. I think for some reason she thought something was wrong with her baby, and in order to save her baby, she injected herself. Don't know why you would ever do that. What would possess you to
make sure I edit out that misogynistic joke. I'm gonna leave that part in.
Do it. Just leave it. But she stabbed herself. She gets onto the ship, and then she's like,
she
no.
goes unconscious before she can activate the autopilot on the ship.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Kay or Rain gets back to Andy, pulls his shit out to reset him. He's going through that process. Bunch of aliens show up, and she starts fucking blasting. I'm gonna say, this was a cool part of the movie because she goes to 0G.
I was gonna say, so she because she gets him up, and then she was like, oh fuck, like they start coming from that area.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, well, we better go down the other way. So they go back towards the lab. When they get there, they realize like the door's locked, and she has at this point taken out the credentials.
Yeah. And
because Andy's back
Rook
to normal.
At that point is like, haha, thanks for your service. Fuck you.
Yeah.
And she goes,
and that's what she starts.
Turns off the gravity, and then she starts blasting so that the
'cause
acid blood won't melt through the ship. It'll just be floating around dangerously.
Yeah. What's the joke they make? It's like, I found this book about zero gravity. I can't put it down. And that's when she has the epiphany. Oh, I can turn the fucking grav off and then just blast that the acid doesn't fall through the hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they do that. She fucking blows apart a shit ton of aliens, and then she goes skedaddling off through. Her and Andy both go skedaddling off through the remnants of the quote battle, and she's like using the gun to shoot in different directions to fucking navigate through the acid blood that's like spinning all over the place. First off, this was another part where I was like, it's a little hard to believe, because with that shit having fucking exploding everywhere, it would have been fucking everywhere. So
yeah.
But she gets through it. They get back to the lift. They're going up the lift in 0G, and then the gravity generators need to purge again. So they purge.
He goes falling.
Yeah, Andy manages to get onto a ladder, but Rain starts falling, and she's caught by the alien that Bjorn tried to abort earlier. And you can tell it's the same alien because it has a little electric shock in its head still.
Yeah.
Not sure how that works, but whatever. Then the lift goes crashing by, and
it comes down on. It takes out a bunch of the aliens.
Yeah, so there were like a bunch more aliens coming up the elevator shaft.
Yeah, but then one comes out of the fucking structure of the shaft and is after her. And then there's a face hugger, and you see Andy just comes. He sees the pulse rifle, he grabs it, and he comes down, blasting the face hugger, and then rides the fucking alien down onto the top of the lift.
Yeah, and he says the iconic alien line, "Get away from her, you bitch."
He does say that. And all of his I'm not going to say it.
All of his simple Jack efficiency.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
And he looks up at Rain, and Rain's like, "Let's go!" And then they fucking skedaddle out. They get back to the ship. They activate the fucking autopilot. They're leaving. They are leaving the ship.
She puts Kay down for some cryo sleep so that she can get there and get some medical attention.
Yeah, she's about ready to get into her own cryopod, but then Kay's cryopod goes critical, and she's like, "Oh no!" And she opens up, and Kay's like, "Ah, the baby!" And then you see that she looks way more pregnant than she did before, and you're like, "Whoa, gross! Pregnancy's gross." And then she starts just like squirting blood all over the inside of the cryopod, and you're like, "Ah!" And then this fucking alien comes out of the fucking vagina, dude. It was
Is this the part where you went? Is this the part where you went? They did this. They didn't have to do it, but they fucking did it, and I don't know.
Yeah, there's just like way more than.
I knew though. See, here's the thing. As soon
as she said, "I'm pregnant," you're like, "Oh, they're gonna do something weird with that."
I knew exactly. I was like, either the face hugger is gonna get her. She's like gonna be sleeping on the ship. I saw it. I was like, because they left the door open on the ship, and I was like, a face hugger is gonna get on there, and like, there's gonna be like, I don't know. She's gonna have a baby and an alien, and they're gonna be best friends because they're twins. They shared a womb together. Some shit like that. I didn't know. I didn't know where they were going with it. I knew they were going somewhere though. Yeah. And I didn't, as soon as she injected herself, you just know. You're like, oh, this baby's coming.
To what looks like an alien egg, and you're like, ooh, yucky. And apparently the placenta or something is like acidic, and it starts like burning a hole through the ship.
Yep.
Which is crazy because you're like, wasn't that inside her? Shouldn't that have like chewed through her before anything weird happened?
You would think.
So then Rain is like following that because she's like, oh shit, like it's gonna burn through the ship. She gets down there. The egg has like settled itself into the, I don't know what it is, sand or something in the storage hold of the ship.
Yeah, it's like minerals or something, I guess.
Yeah. And does she open it, or does it open by itself? And there's like a little human baby looking thing in there.
Yeah, no, it opens by itself. She's like carrying it. She's like has it wrapped up in like a jacket or something, or like a blanket, and she's like running to try to carry it, and then it starts burning. So she drops it, and you just see it like open itself, and like you see the face of the baby before it like the acid placenta.
It looks
burns
like she's gonna
down.
try and destroy it, if I remember correctly. But
yeah,
then
it looked like she
the,
was
like kind of human face, and she goes, "Huh?"
Yeah, it definitely. I got the idea. I don't know what would give me this idea that she was trying to just take this egg and throw it out the airlock. I don't know why you would ever throw something out the airlock or, toss an alien out an airlock. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, especially whenever you can just go find the thing that they threw out the airlock in the infinite void of space.
Apparently.
Because, it got shot out the fucking airlock, and it could have gone in literally infinite number of directions.
Yeah. But, yeah. So, this thing, as aliens do, ages very quickly, and it is some disgusting hybrid of human and alien.
So, you haven't seen Prometheus, have you?
I haven't.
This looks like one of the navigators, except kind of fucked up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so it is, because I think I've started Prometheus, and I think it is the dude at the beginning, the very like kind of white skinned guy, is that a navigator?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I got, because like I saw the face of the baby and I went, oh, is this just gonna like grow up into being a navigator? But no, it's like it looks like a very fucked up version of a navigator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think it is revealed at one point that like humans are some sort of like creation of the navigators. Like I don't know. I don't know. It's so fucking convoluted and like bent in on itself now that the lore just like, I don't know what the fucking lore is.
Yeah.
But so you get this like, dude, when it initially stood up, the couple behind me like laughed, and not in a good way.
Oh man.
And then I heard the dude say something like, of course they did.
Fair.
And I was like, oh yeah. Because I also was like, oh, that looks terrible.
Yeah.
Dude, it doesn't look good. It looks
Nope.
bad. Yeah, but then like the thing like approaches Kay and is like sniffing her or whatever, and then Rain finally catches it, and you see that it has like eaten Kay except for her head.
Yeah.
And then shenanigans ensue. Fucking acid eats through the shit.
Yeah.
Rain is dangling outside on a fucking hook, and then she gets the ship to drop the
cargo hold.
Cargo hold, and the alien goes woo, out into space, and she goes up into the ship, and then happy ending. Her and Andy travel off to the Promised Land.
Yeah, that's it. So,
I'm just gonna say this: the plot for this movie is so fucking convoluted. Like the fact that most of our fucking the plots of the other movies are like pretty quick, right? It's like X happens, alien shows up, consequences of alien showing up, they shoot the alien out the airlock, end of movie. This one's like, the setup was good, right? The first act, like everything up to where the face huggers start popping out of the incubator thing is pretty good, I think. After that, it just gets like progressively more and more lost in that second act, and then the third act hits, and it's just fucking, it's not good. It's just bad. The whole sequence of the baby on the ship is just like not good.
Yeah.
Which sucks, because like visually everything else about this movie is like really, really pretty good, I would say. Like the planet looks dour, the ships look good, the gun was cool, the hive stuff looked like the hive stuff, the aliens, they look like the scary aliens like they're supposed to.
Yeah.
Then that final act happens, and you're like, yikes.
Yeah.
Yucky.
No, I'll say like I'd say one thing I appreciate is that like they've kept the like tech consistent through the movies. You get the like the beeps and buzz and whirs and everything. Like it didn't seem too much like they're trying to like change all that much about it.
Like the almost analog computer stuff is pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. So all that's great. It looks great, but yeah, I mean, it loses you. I think when you get to the point of like,
all right, so the cheap fake stuff with Rook doesn't look good. The baby alien, human baby alien, doesn't look good.
Nope.
Apart from that, the movie looks good. I'll say that.
I agree.
God, man, I just...
What would you give it?
Setup in such a bad payoff. I'll say that.
Oh, yeah. no, definitely.
What would I give it? That's a good question. I think
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like as a movie, like a 6.
Yeah.
And I think that is being a little generous with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was gonna go like 6.5. I was just gonna say like, I think it's something I would recommend. Like, I would recommend seeing it in the scope of like, especially like alien movies. I don't think if you were to go into it without having seen the alien movies, I don't know if I would recommend that, because I don't think it's gonna be. I don't know, like if you're looking for a movie, like I'm not gonna go like be like, oh, you've never seen the Alien movie? Start with Romulus, or like go watch Alien Romulus. It's a good, like, I would obviously, like, I think both of us would say like go watch Alien and Aliens, and then you could just stop.
Yeah, I would definitely say that. Like, I would probably say, how is it I described Underworld? Like, if it was on TNT and it was the middle of the afternoon, it's probably worth a watch, you know? And like, that's how I feel about, right, here's my tiers, right? So like S tier, Alien and Aliens, we'll skip A and B tier. C tier is like Prometheus. D tier, no, I'll say C tier is like Prometheus and Alien Romulus. D tier is Alien Covenant.
Mm-hmm.
And then like F, like bottom tier, is
3 and Resurrection.
Yeah.
I haven't seen them yet, but I plan to watch them just so I can say I've watched all of them. I will watch them, but
yeah,
I am excited for us to do Predator.
Yeah. Predator's fun.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I got nothing else.
No news this week.
Yeah.
The world's
maybe we'll
too
have some next week. Yeah.
If you listen to this point, thanks for listening. We appreciate it. We love you. Little kisses. If for some unhinged reason you want to support the podcast, you can do that. Patreon.com/badpipes podcast. For $1, you can become a space wizard and stick it to the Space Witch hegemony. Or for $10, you can get a seat on the council. If you wanted to yap at Scott on Twitter, you can do that at badpipespod. If you want to yap at me on Twitter and actually get a response from one of us, you can do that at CryptidWorksYT. And if you wanted to argue with me on why Aliens 3 is the best in the franchise, you can do that at badpipespodcast@gmail.com. And as always, the music was by Carl Casey at White Bat Audio. And we just want to say a thank you to our prospective sponsorship with Fisherman's Friend. God, I hope they sponsor us someday. Kiss your dog goodnight. Bye.
Bye.